You read the title. Yeah, this could be a possibility. Let's get into it.
Hard hit ball from McCann into the gap. And that's going down the right field line, and that's going to stay fair and go to the corner. The high drive to left field. It is way into the night. This one's deep to left, and that ball. This one is deep, and that ball is gone. What a start in Queens.
Welcome to Touching Base Podcast. If you're new here, subscribe, like the video at the end if I deserved it. Share this video at the very end on Twitter because I want to get more people to tell me I'm wrong and bitch about it. If you're a White Sox fan, buckle up. The Chicago White Sox, the South Side, the new owners of the worst record in MLB history since 1900. The team that just traded and arguably lost the trades, giving up Soroka, Jimenez, DeYoung. If this is rock bottom low for the franchise, is there a chance that in 2025 the comeback of the century can happen? I think so, and hear me out. Reindorf, the owner of the White Sox, took full responsibility per Associated Press with the disastrous season that they had. Now, I personally say this is all a PR move because you can't really twist anything any other way. On top of that, they still said they will be better and this is a great light at the end of the tunnel or something like that. Most of it's just bullshit. They will need to make moves, and a lot, in order to live up to what they said on the positive side. They already mentioned that Getz, the GM for the White Sox, is looking for a new manager, so that means that Grady Sizemore is out for 2025. Someone who would be a good coaching addition to any team that's a contender in 2025. And after the 2023 season of the 101 loss, where they cut payroll by $60 million entering 2024, they announced earlier that they're cutting payroll again for 2025. Although I don't see a specific number online. They said that they have to because of the lack of attendance in 2024, which, I mean, the average was like 17,000 per game, which is pretty low. It's the fourth lowest, but that's still behind Miami, Tampa Bay, and Oakland. But Oakland was boycotting their team owners because they took away their team. And speaking of which, the White Sox have already began discussions about getting a new stadium from Chicago, from the city, which is the same way that Oakland ended up leaving the city of Oakland because they couldn't come to an agreement as far as a new stadium is concerned. But of course, that's also John Fisher, who's a penny-pinching moron born into money and not earned. Sorry, off topic. I just don't like the guy. So what the hell am I talking about? I mean, the White Sox had $133,797,547 payroll. That was an adjusted payroll. They only were committed to $111 million. But in 2025, this is going to be a clean slate. Yoan Moncada is making $24.8 million this year, but next year, he's only owed $5 million. Mike Clevenger is a free agent. He made $3 million. Soroka was traded to LA. That's another $3 million that they can cut off. Chris Flexen made $1.75 million. They could also non-tender Nicky Lopez, which I don't know if it'd be a good idea because he wasn't too bad this season. And then Andrew Vaughn, he was also an option to be non-tendered, and he's going to make $7.5 million in 2025. Now, both of them have an OPS plus under 100, so maybe it is time to literally clean slate and kick them out. It'll save you a lot of money. On top of that, you have the obvious guy that everybody talks about, Garrett Crochet. He could be traded for a big return. Even though he threw a 4.87 ERA, batters were hitting 267 against him with nearly an 800 OPS. After the All-Star break, I still think they can probably get a decent return, but not as good as before the trade deadline, which is where I think gets messed up. The Sox only have $35 million committed to players in 2025. If they cut payroll, they still have around $80 million. That's saying they cut off like $20 million in payroll. I doubt they'll cut it by $60 million because there's nothing left. You can't even have a team. You might as well sell the team. That means that they can go very unpredictably into this offseason and have a spending spree for like 2-year contracts. Now, as far as free agency goes, there's a specific position, third, that only has 4 players at the very most that'll hit free agency. So, third base, I would kind of rule out unless you want Gio Urshela, which I don't think that's a good idea at this point. It would be ideal for them to trade for a high OPS third baseman. Again, not very many out there, and who knows what's available, but free agency is probably not the way to go. There are plenty of first base bats, like really good first base bats, that they could probably afford. And honestly, with the amount that they'd have, let's say $80 million, you have room to put up $10 million AAV per player per position surrounding Luis Robert. At this point, pitching is costing too much on this thin market, but they can bring in some good coaching for the pitching staff and develop players like Drew Thorpe and get some good arms from AAA. This is in fact a way that the White Sox could be a playoff team next season, but of course they're going to need the run support for the the babyface rotation that they would have. This is just an idea, so hear me out. If they were to go just ape shit on the free agency market, 2025 White Sox. At catcher, they signed James McCann. He's a free agent, costing, let's say, an increase of $10.5 million per year. He batted .234 this season and his OPS of .667. Not the greatest, but he's a solid defensive catcher, and I'm pretty sure he's tired of being a backup to Rutschman. At first base, Carlos Santana. Yeah, he's getting old, I understand, but he just had a great season with the Twins, and he may only cost $5.5 million at first base. He has a batting average of .238, and he's slugging .420 with a 2.5 WAR, which is something the White Sox honestly need. At second base, go the cheap route and very silent killer, Donovan Solano. Now, he's with the Padres right now, but he is a free agent, and he only made $1 million this year, so offer him $2 million for a year. He batted .286 with a 760 OPS. Why not? That might be the biggest and cheapest come up of the offseason. For shortstop, why bother? Either you keep Nicky Lopez or call up Colson Montgomery. He's your top prospect. I know he's only been batting like a .202 this year in AAA, but give him a shot. Like, what are you going to lose? And it's not going to cost you anything. At third base, Jose Iglesias. Probably the best hitting shortstop slash third baseman you can get for $3.5 million. Offer that to him. He batted .337 average, .829 OPS, and had a solid 3 WAR. That could be your best option for third base. For outfield at this point, go big or go home. You have so much money on the table. I'm not going to say go out and get Soto because it's not realistic. He's making $30 million this year, and next year he's going to be looking for a $500 million contract over the course of God knows how long. I don't know if the White Sox really want to take that risk, considering they're not sure if they're going to have the money for a really long contract. So give me Max Kepler at $8 million. Sign me up. .253 batting average with 21 doubles. He wasn't the greatest, but he's better than anything you currently have on the team. And for left field, give me Tyler O'Neill. Sign him for $7 million. He batted .241 this year with a .511 slugging and an .847 OPS and 2.6 WAR. Alone, this team, if you look at it from a distance, is going to be significantly better than what you had this season, and maybe even above 500, while you're only spending $34.5 million per year of an $80 million budget. Now, I'm saying 80 on a high end, but even if they cut $60 million from the already diminished $130 million payroll, this is a solid team, especially compared to now. And you still will have extra money for pitchers if you wanted to go that route, or add guys for your bench. If they traded Benintendi, that's an additional $17 million off your books, and for a guy that posted a .229 average and a negative .7 WAR, slugging under 400, go for it. Somebody might love to pick him up as like a backup outfielder or first base. If Getz starts working on this now, this White Sox team could have a heyday in the market and rebuild with power and instantaneous results. But it'll only make it better if ownership legitimately goes full throttle. It's the only way to show Chicago that you're serious. You have to spend money to make money. Considering how much money you're spending, this is your window to do so because you have a clean slate and you don't have to spend that much to get a really good return. So what do you think? Like the video before you go. Took some time and some thorough research, so share the video on X for people who want to debate me in the comments. And where are you? If you're a Southside fan or ashamed to be a fan, I mean, do you believe? Tell me. I'll catch you in the next one. Later.